Śrimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prastalabi Savyamano Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasarambi Bamsi Bhattatitasti Taha Karshan Venu Svanar Gopir Gopi Natha Shriyestuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Charubhyascha Kripa Sindhubi Evacha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dharmascha samedeta loluper vyankusher nirbi sayane tvai loko yam dasyu grasto phenakshyati. If you gave up all thought of the world's situation, unrighteousness would flourish. For men who hanker only after money would be unopposed. Such miscreants would attack, and the world would perish. So the meeting of Svayambhuva Manu and Kardama Muni, the purpose of that meeting, of course, was to entrust Svayambhuva Manu, to entrust his daughter of marriageable age, Devahuti, unto Kardama Muni to be his wife. So we see, it's very nice, how the Brahmana and the Kshatriya are praising each other, both personally and also by their status or their position. This is very instructive, as Prabhupada is describing in the purport, the scientific division of the 4 varnas and 4 ashrams. This is very, very important in human society. Striving for self-realization and beyond through siddhi, perfection in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, going back home, back to Godhead, that there is a method and means to live in this world in the particular bodily situation that we're placed in human society, and that individual performance of those duties responsibly not only grants one individual elevation and ultimate perfection, but also allows for a completely harmonious and smooth cooperation on all necessary levels, social, political, economic, environmental, between everyone in such a way that everyone's individual needs, as Prabhupada would say, happy in this life and in the next, are accomplished. So Prabhupada begins the purport. He is the Savior. We think that we have met your goodness just so that we may accept you as captain of the ship to guide us across the dangerous ocean of Kali Yuga, which extinguishes. And what's the word that they use there? It extinguishes, destroys all good qualities of human society, the human being. Interesting. So Prabhupada uses the word here, the scientific division of the ashrams and varnas is now being extinguished. So we have a very, very eye-opening view of what the demoniac class of people are trying to do. More or less attacking the God-given Krishna's system of Varna and Ashram, which has as its basis in all the varnas and ashrams proper family life, proper relationship between male and female. They're trying to erase that, equate everything, and just like throw everything up in the air like it's all one. It is understood at the very beginning of Śrimad Bhāgavatam, the sages and rishis and saintly persons, just see how Kardama Muni is praising Svayambhuva Manu here. If you gave up all thought of the world's situation, so we don't take to Krishna consciousness to just forget the world and forget everything and everybody and just enter into some just type of, Shangri-La, I'm just like, everything's peace and love and I don't want to hear anything bad. Many times devotees are criticized. You're always seeing the bad. You're always seeing, what do you just come on, man, let's just love, peace and love, hippie life, So the responsibility for the upkeep of the world in proper order is specifically entrusted and reserved only for the devotees of the Lord, who will, by the Lord's arrangement, appear in human society as Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras, in all the different varnas. Later in the purport, Prabhupada describes how the caste Goswamis, they capture the so-called higher orders based on on their definition and apply their so-called definition of hereditary birthright, which has nothing to do with the spiritual progress and of everyone in human society. Why India didn't continue its glory, well, there's so many different reasons because of foreign invasion and subjugation, but Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada pointed out and challenged and defeated this caste-conscious Brahminical hereditary falsity. Basically, this is just a glorified bodily conception of life, which always appears in human society in certain ways, in certain places in history, which the demons capture to more or less enslave human society for their own nefarious reasons. The so-called term that was prevalent in the late 19th century and the early 20th century and ultimately paved the way for the most horrible war to date, World War II, eugenics, that, by birth we're in a higher position than those who have taken their birth in a different way, and therefore we have the right to enslave, or in some cases, if we think that a certain section by birth in human society is antagonistic, then we should just exterminate the entire race. So that didn't go away, but it is still prevalent in human society, but they're going about it in a more roundabout way, the demons. So we were saying, at the dawn of Kali Yuga, the sages had this big meeting. We're prepared to be here for thousands of years. Please tell us to whom real religious principles have gone for shelter. Śrimad Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad Gita, Krishna personally spoke that Bhagavad Gita, of course, directly for Arjuna, his pure devotees' benefit, to fight the battle of Kurukshetra, but for everyone in all times, places, and circumstances, especially in this Kali Yuga. So there's only 18 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, and 2 in particular, the divine and demoniac, and also divisions of faith. And then in other places, in the later chapters, the demons and how they become demons or act as demons by being in the lower modes of nature are being explained. And even Arjuna, he needs to be encouraged by Krishna Don't worry, you are not born of the demoniac nature, you are of the divine nature. And if you hear what Krishna is saying, the nature of the demons, it is a very, very bullseye, pin the tail on the donkey. Everybody know what that is? Pin the tail on the donkey? Or if the shoe fits, wear it. Of what these, by hook or by crook, they've captured big positions in government, and in all necessary categories of human society, they've infiltrated. So, being a devotee is what? He's eager to understand Param Satyam Dhimahi, the absolute truth. Knowing Krishna means to know everything else. So, an actual devotee of Krishna, not on the sentimental platform, but solidly situated on the platform of knowledge, divine knowledge and realization, knows everything that's going on in human society. So we don't have to look very far to see the greatest example in our recent times who left us instructions that will be law for the next 10,000 years, is Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was driven by a singular desire to save human society and animals and every living entity on this planet. What he did to establish the worldwide movement, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which would be, which was the extension of his mercy, very powerful mercy. The order of the spiritual master is very, very heavy. There's great weight to it. So that seemingly offhand remark of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati on the Ulta Dungi Junction Road, Calcutta rooftop 101 years ago was actually filled with great power and potency. You are a very intelligent young man. You should turn yourself into an English preacher and spread Lord Chaitanya's movement all over the world. So within that order or within that instruction is our shelter, and the shelter for everyone on this planet. The Vaishnava writer, Kavi or poet, I offer my respectful obeisances to all of the devotees who have come before, to all who are my contemporaries and present now, and to all of the devotees who will come in the future. Because the mission is one and the same, to save the faithful and to annihilate the miscreant. That is the mission of the Lord. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinishaya traduskritam, dharma samstapanataya, sambhavami yuge yuge. A dharma. So when unrighteousness flourish, so of course Swayambhuva Manu is holding things. If you were to give up, and he was not going to give up, unrighteousness would flourish. For men would hanker only after money and be opposed. If we look at their nefarious schemes of the demons, that's just it. So much wealth I have today, and it will increase more and more by my schemes. And because they have this eugenics kind of like view of people, just like slavery for hundreds and hundreds of years, even thousands of years, Romans, Greek Empire. These people are lower people. It doesn't matter whether they live or die. They just represent numbers. You know, the Pharaoh of Egypt, purportedly, when all of the plagues were afflicting them, finally before the firstborn of Egypt in every house will die, you know. And the people say, Pharaoh, let these Jewish people go. This is just crazy. And says, are you gonna build the bricks? Are you gonna build the pyramids? That was their idea. These so-called people, Jewish people, they're just meant for slavery, and that's it. And even then, according to the Old Testament, so that they're leaving, and they come to the Red Sea. You know, and Pharaoh leads his armies, we're going to bring all these people back. And then the miracle purportedly that the Red Sea parted and the Jewish people were able to. So they will not stop at anything, these people. They're just like rabid dogs, crazed animals, completely lost in their schemes, lost in their lust and their greed and their view of other living entities. It's demoniac. What other word can you say? So, what is the weapon that has been given to us in this Kali Yuga to defeat these most heinous, horrible creatures, these demons? Harer Nam eva kevalam, kalo nasdeva gatir anyata. So the holy name is the tip of the spear, but the whole shaft of the spear is made up of the entire Krishna consciousness movement, which Srila Prabhupada gave us. Srila Prabhupada had the greatest faith in the holy name. He started this movement by chanting the holy name, but once that spear pierced the armor and ultimate chest of the demoniac society, then the rest of the shaft came in. And within 10 years, Prabhupada's spear of the Krishna consciousness movement went very, very deep. To the point, what is it described? In the beginning, they'll laugh at you. And then when they see you're not a joke and you're not going away, they will try to destroy you. They will try to attack you. But ultimately, because we are representing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Truth, the truth always wins. Why do we have so many stories in the Śrimad Bhāgavatam? The battle between the demons and the demigods. Lord Vamanadev appears and takes the heavenly planets back from Balimaj, returning them to Indra and the demigods. To give us that faith and understanding. Gargamuni, when he was performing the name-giving ceremony of Krishna and Balaram in secret, without gorgeous arrangement, in the cowshed of Nandamar, said, any group or individual who takes shelter of these two brothers, Krishna and Balaram, will never be defeated. So we don't have guns, we don't have, I don't know, what are some of the names of these things, that they can shoot nuclear missiles from, thousands of miles and pinpoint countries and cities and things like that. And that's what they call it? They call it a Satan?
It's called the Satan too.
Huh?
Satan too.
Okay. But we have the holy name, which can travel around the world 7 times. And the demons, their weapons, they're always calculating and they understand, okay, we're going to make a nuclear treaty that you can't have this many. They all know what a nuclear weapon or what these other weapons can do. But this is such a fine weapon, such a subtle astra, they can't understand it. They'll always laugh at it. In fact, they think, we'll keep a few Hare Krishnas around, we'll let them do their thing. Because that, helps us in our so-called, public relations. See, we're equal to everyone. We let these, crazy people run around and do their thing. But if it gets bigger, and there's more of us, then it'll be something more interesting. We shouldn't be afraid of, we got to keep ourselves small. Because if we get bigger, then we're going to get attacked. No. So human society is depending on us, all living entities. That's why we go out for the purpose of meeting those people who are ready for the truth, who are tired of all the lies and cheating and falsity and just horrible treatment. But it's also for us to get trained up People ask, well, what do I say? What do I do? Just do it, and Lord Chaitanya will give you instruction from within. So Lord Chaitanya wants us to increase our faith and realization, rise from the neophyte stage to the fully self-realized stage. One who is now the proper disciple will automatically be qualified as the proper spiritual master to give shelter and instruction to newcomers. That is our right, that is our privilege, that is our responsibility. In the institution of 4 varnas and 4 ashrams, there are regular training principles. So this is Krishna's system. He's the ultimate trainer for the different classes of men. Just as in the modern age, there is a necessity for engineers, medical practitioners, and electricians. They are properly trained in the different scientific institutions. Similarly, in former times, the higher social orders, namely the intelligent class, the brahmanas, the ruling class, and the kshatriyas, and the mercantile class, the vaishyas, were properly trained. Bhagavad Gita describes the duties of the brahmanas, kshatriyas, vaishyas, and sudras. When there is no such training, one simply claims, and describing the caste system. So that training is Krishna consciousness. Training for what? Training to understand Sambandha, Abhideya, and ultimately Prayojan. We're not training to become Brahmins or Kshatriyas. Can I be a Kshatriya in Goloka Vrindavan? We're meant to become pure devotees. And the Varnas and Ashrams, and certainly the Ashrams, it's a temporary designation based on the body that we're in right now. Lord Chaitanya says, I am neither a Brahman, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, a Sudra, etc., etc. Who am I? What am I? I am simply Das Anudas, so many times removed, of Lord Krishna, who maintains the Gopi damsels of Brajadam. And Prabhupada in one place describing that says, and this is the way of self-realization. Thus, society is now in chaos, and there's neither peace nor prosperity. It is clearly stated herein, unless there is the vigilance of a strong king. So that's not just, the temple president or the GBC or the spiritual master. They're going to have strong vigilance, and the rest of us, we can just be like, oh. All devotees should be very strongly vigilant to understand who's who and what's what. Kirti Raj Prabhu, his memory, along with his good wife of 50 years, Hari Puja Dasi, and there's also another devotee, Vegavati, their memories, that's the new memory on Prabhupada Memories by Siddhanta Prabhu, number 92 or 93. He remarked that Prabhupada told him that a devotee, an intelligent person, is very, very observant and aware of his surroundings. There's a famous story that Prabhupada came back to Krishna Balaram Mandir, Vrindavan, after being absent for some time, and they had just installed, which is still there, the Mahaprasadam booth, one of the most popular places in the temple, and next door the book counter, and chandeliers were put in, and they were telling Prabhupada, everything is just so nice, it's so first class. And Prabhupada said, you say that it's first class? I say that it's 10th class. There's a pigeon's nest in the chandelier, and just see all the stool and clutter, and clean it immediately. So they're showing Prabhupada here and there, but Prabhupada looked up and so, and particularly the devotee, the Brahmin, what is, in terms of cleanliness, what is that motto of the Brahmin? He leaves a place cleaner than when he found it. So we can't bear to see the people being enslaved by the demons, being implicated in their nefarious purposes, losing their chance in this Manushya Janma Paya Radha Krishna Nabaji, a very rarely obtained human form of life. Prabhu Acharya Nishta was saying in the Sunday feast, after millions and millions of years, such a rare opportunity, and to have it be lost. So we go forth very strongly with resolute determination, and just like Arjuna, if I die in the process, if I die in the midst of fighting for Lord Chaitanya, it's a glorious death. Die we must, but let's die on the hill for Lord Chaitanya. And in that way, Lord Chaitanya, Krishna will say, this man has given his life for me, he has done this for me. Be very, very pleased. Friendly godbrothers to Srila Prabhupada, they remarked, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has received such pleasure from the service of your Swami Maharaj. What Srila Prabhupada has done is given his spiritual master such unlimited pleasure. So let us serve Srila Prabhupada, who has pleased his spiritual master to such an extraordinary way, and also please the Guru Parampara and perfect our lives and help as many others as possible. At least get the seed of devotional service, and sooner rather than later, millions of years and thousands of lifetimes, maybe in this life or maybe one or two more lives, go back home, back to Godhead, and gain their passport and exit papers and get the heck out of here before the demons really do something nasty. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
I have a comment. Thank you for the inspiring class. I was reflecting on when you were talking about how these demons they're always like finding new schemes, in order to keep their control, make more profit.
Yeah.
Like that. I remember we were at Atlantic Avenue one day.
Well, can I just say one thing?
Yes.
No matter what they think of, our weapon of Krishna consciousness movement and Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is always the match. We're not like in some high stakes poker game. Well, I'll do this. Well, I'll raise you this. They're always like up and. We keep to the same principle. We have the same method. And whatever they think of, no matter how seemingly escalating, more powerful or intellectual or more insidious, Hare Krishna. In fact, the Hare Krishna movement not only matches, it's unlimitedly more powerful than anything they can ever dream up. Go ahead.
That perfectly aligns with what I'm about to say. I approached this person. He was kind of like gothic looking, and I just was like, okay, might as well give it a try, see if he wants a book. And kept walking, and he turned and he looked at me like so seriously. And he was like, stop here. You're lifting the curse off of this world. And I was like, I was totally caught away from it. I was like, whoa, this is really strange. And I look at the Harinam and I was like, yeah, that's true. So what you're saying, the Sangopangasta Parshadam, the associations, the shaft of the tip of the spearhead, and we're really penetrating that deeply.
Lord Bor and Hiranyaksha, the battle for the earth planet. The demons are always trying to capture the earth, but we should always remember this earth planet belongs to Lord Krishna. It's his property, not theirs.
So we understand chanting the holy name to be the supreme occupation, the topmost bliss, the highest attainment is to chant the Hare Krishna Maha. Yet we see individually, I can say for myself, and just recently I was speaking to some devotees who maybe are losing their faith in the process. So, what is the cause of that?
Not applying the process properly. I just saw a little, they have these thing now, what do they call them, reels or shorts. And your spiritual master, Vaishya Shekhar Prabhu, content and content. You see that one? You know, the content, what you put in, is what you become. So put in good content and you'll be content. Everything comes from not applying the process properly, sufficiently, or with the right attitude or in the right association. So the spiritual master is there, just like Vyasadeva. I can't find the cause for my feeling of dissatisfaction. And Narada Muni pointed out the cause and, firmly and lovingly directed him on the right path, of which we're all the great recipients of his, the ripened fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literature, written by Srila Vyasadeva in his immaturity, mid-level, maturity. By serving those Bhaktivedanta, he became swept up, and himself became a pure. And Prabhupada writes there that, how does he say, the flow of devotional service, or the atmosphere created by the pure devotees is so attractive that even an onlooker becomes purified, observing, and what to speak of participating in that association. Speaking of our Shri Radha Govinda Mandir in New York Yatra, I've heard this remark. Of course, I don't go anywhere further than where my subway card can bring me, but in other places for the last 4 years, that devotees want to come here, or they remark that, there's Harinam every day, there's something happening, it's like very vigorous, and Prabhupada taught us the no-gap philosophy, that, if you leave a little inch, then Maya will wedge in and take everything. Says, I feel discouraged, I lost my faith. You just got to create a situation where you're always engaged in devotional service. There's a story of one single individual man riding a train, third class, in India, and then this very small man, there's already like 4 people on the seat, and he just kind of, there's maybe like 6 inches, so maybe he just kind of like squeeze in everybody, make a little more room. How do you, like pranam and namaste and smiling and sit there. And then, okay, everybody tolerated it. Then he just kind of gives an indication, and then he's got a small 4-year-old son. And they've come and he gets in there too, And then he's got, what does he have next? He has like a daughter who's maybe like 7 or 8 years old, and then some other relative. And then finally, his wife comes, who's twice as big and twice as fat as he is, And before you know it, the man who had given up his seat is now, just standing in the hallway by the bathroom because he lost his seat. So the idea is that's Maya. She sees a little something that, okay, she comes in, before you know it, she takes everything. Is that okay? Or you want something a little more proby or probing or...
Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribol.
Class. Something along the lines of what Prabhu said. Srila Prabhupada said, this is a very powerful movement. It cannot be stopped by external forces. It can only be stopped from inside. So my question is, how can we guard against those who are masquerading as devotees?
Masquerading.
Yes. But actually, their program is to let us How can we guard against that and stay strong and united against these, devotees in disguise who are actually having a different...
Well, we can only do what we're empowered to do. And again, what are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work? What are they? Just list them. Yeah. Loudly. English.
Peacefulness, austerity.
Louder. Strongly loud so the whole room can hear vigorously.
Every single one? Or just-
Yeah.
So,
Just list them.
Sama means peacefulness, Tapa, austerity, Shocham, cleanliness, tolerance, religiosity, knowledge, realization.
Any type of masquerading or falsely taking a position that you're not qualified for, even in the mundane sense, it ultimately gets discovered. Now, trying to make believe or masquerade or pretend that you're actually a devotee or you're on a platform higher than you actually are, that will be revealed in due course. Just like we had the erroneous, just after Prabhupada's left, how will initiations go on, and there was a certain system set up, and unfortunately, due to immaturity or pride, ego, whatever, it was quite an erroneous and wrong system, and it fell apart after, it started to fall apart after just like 3 or 4 years, and then it completely fell apart after like 7 or 8 years. And the way of acting or presenting oneself as a spiritual master was way, 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 way beyond one's qualification. It was based on imitation of Srila Prabhupada, etc., etc. And we learn from our mistakes. We become more mature. Krishna consciousness movement was only 12, 13 years old at the time, and trying to come to understanding of following Srila Prabhupada's instructions. Now in his physical absence, that was something brand new to everyone. So such a thing can't really happen again because of the maturity of the movement and experience that is there, and it can be cited if and when such things crop up again individually or regionally or whatever. You can look at it. Anyway, the point is experience and maturity. So the reason I'm asking Prabhu to describe the qualities by which the Brahmins work, that's the only thing we can really do. We have to do our best in terms of the service that we have. We should be very determined. And of course, as Prabhupada said, preaching is the essence. If you're constantly trying to propagate the Krishna consciousness movement, that will ultimately prove to be very, very attractive for all real devotees and for people sincerely looking for the truth. And whether you like it or not, or whether you are seeking it or not, then you'll become recognized as a bona fide devotee. In Madhavendra Puri, when it was understood that Krishna stole the sweet rice for him, he decided, I got to get out of here right away, because in the morning there'll be great crowds and people will be like, I'm like a famous person. So, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, whether one likes it or not, an actual pure devotee cannot escape their fame. Narottam Das Thakur, may your fame be spread throughout the three worlds. My dear Ramananda Roy, of all who is famous and glorious, who is the most famous? One who is reputed to be a pure devotee of Krishna, he is the most famous person. That's eternal fame also. John Lennon in 1965, yeah, we're more famous than Jesus Christ. He got in a lot of trouble for that, especially in the Bible Belt, where they were burning Beatles albums. But, anyway, whatever. The fame of John Lennon, the Beatles, is just temporary, maybe a little longer than other entertainers, but still. Right? Do you meet young people today, George Harrison?
A few.
What? Who's that?
Maybe a few. Maybe.
Still people know who he is.
Like people who play music, that's it.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, do you meet people who say, who is George Harrison?
Yeah, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
See? Only 50 years. You see, like Ramanujacharya, he's 1,006 years old, 10,017. And his sampradaya, Madhvacharya, is being kept very pristinely and precisely for all of this time. So, it's in Krishna's hand ultimately. In Prabhupada on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's either appearance or disappearance day, he's saying how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed for someone from the personal staff of the Lord to come down and help him. And Prabhupada said that is the nature that you start something very, very good and pure, that in this material world, over time, it becomes obscured, it becomes contaminated, it becomes degraded, and ultimately, the Lord has to come or send his representative, and Prabhupada said this very nice, to give the thing a push, to get it started again. So, we're not in a perfect, Prabhupada said, the only perfect management is in Vaikuntha, ultimately. So we try our best, and the result, you have a right to perform your duty, but you're not entitled to the result. Do your best, and the results are up to Krishna. And if Krishna wants to empower you more, that's his prerogative. But a pure devotee is not looking for fame and recognition. Prabodhananda Saraswati in his epic Vrindavan Mahimamrita always remain obscure and unknown and worship this holy place of Vrindavan. Yet at the same time, for the sake of preaching, the devotee will lend his name to be well known. Kirtiraj, he arranged for the beautiful signage and lettering on the original BBT building in Los Angeles, and also the front face of the Los Angeles temple. But this was at a time in 1970, and he had just written International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and Prabhupada said, "Where is my name? This is a conspiracy." And Kirtiraj said, no, Prabhupada, it was only me. I only did it. There wasn't a conspiracy. So he promptly called the company that made the sign and come in, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder, Raya, International Society for Krishna. So Prabhupada is stressing. Is he doing it for his own name and fame? No, he's doing it for a very strong and very important purpose, which we don't have time to describe, but we know what that purpose is. So everything for Krishna, whether we're famous, whether we're not famous, in the eyes of Krishna, we're pleasing him. Whether one is a gigantic Goshthianandi with thousands and millions of followers, or one is a humble Babaji who is unknown, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur was ordered by Lord Chaitanya to spend the remaining years of his life, about 7, simply chanting the holy name in Jagannath Puri. And he said, by this process, you'll deliver the entire universe. So whatever the order of the Lord is, we should be happy to execute. So we've gone past due, so I will keep to the schedule and end the class.
We do have an online question.
Okay. See if I can hit the ball quick and score a single or a double or maybe even a home run. Okay.
So the question is, some people discourage others from going on Harinam by claiming that you have to first become pure. For example, go to Mangalarti. Years pass, they don't go. What's the proper understanding?
Proper understanding is do it today, don't delay, get out there in whatever condition of life you're in. Don't think that this chanting and dancing won't lead to the desired success. It will. So if you can't go to Mangal Artik, go on Harinam, and that's your Mangal Artik. What's the condition that you can't go to Mangal Artik? You come to Mangal Artik here and you live in Brighton Beach or you live in the Bronx or something, have Mangal Artik where you live. It's 4:30 in the morning for everyone, everywhere, at all times, so. You don't got no instruments, you got nothing but hands to clap, but if you've got sincere desire, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Shishi Radha Govinda Ki Jai. Shishi Radha Govinda's New York mission, which is Srila Prabhupada's mission. This is Prabhupada's Prabhu Datta Desh, where he came to fulfill the order of his spiritual master. Bullseye, pinpoint, target, right here, New York. Remember that T-shirt? 26 Second Avenue, where it all began. The whole movement emanated out of that storefront.